Welcome back. With us in the studio, as His Excellency Ambassador Mohammed Higazi introduced our guest, with us is His Excellency Ambassador Hazem Abu Shanab, leading member in the Fatah movement. A pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much. And thanks to Ambassador Higazi.
Well, he burned the surprise.
Yes.
So. Anyway, we're talking today about the upcoming Paris conference. And one of the things that I personally thought of, the Paris conference is supposed to bring the two sides, the Palestinian and the Israeli, to some kind of a meeting point whereby we can move to create the two-state solution, which really is the only solution. As I said in my introduction, the only compromising solution, because it's a big compromise on the part of the Palestinians. The issue is, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but what's the purpose of the meeting if the Israeli government refuses to participate, claiming it doesn't want international intervention, and I'm surprised that since when does it not want international intervention, and it prefers to do it one-on-one with the Palestinians, whereas they had ample opportunity to do this, and this never materialized. That's why the world decided to sort of get together to try to find a solution to this pressing tens and tens and tens of years problem. So what's the purpose of this conference? What are we going to achieve?
First, I have to thank you for receiving me in your program, and
pleasure as always.
Also thanks to Ambassador Mohammed Higazi that I, in fact, enjoyed his analysis and his opinion, and he knows that I respect his opinion very much. Netanyahu is exerting all the efforts that he can do to not to have any effort in the peace process. So he is refusing to attend the Paris conference because he doesn't, this is a kind of continuing his role is in exerting all efforts to not to exert any effort in the peace, in making the peace. Netanyahu always says when some is asking him or advising him to go for some kind of settlement between him and the Palestinians, between the Israelis and the Palestinians, he always says that we want only one-to-one negotiations, and the understandings that we can achieve in these negotiations he is going to deploy. But I believe, and he confirmed several times, that he is a big liar and he doesn't do anything like that. He is only using this terminology, one-to-one negotiations, to escape from under the pressure that is practiced over him, and to withdraw from any kind of suggestions, invitations to go for something bilateral, trilateral, or comprehensive meeting for different parties that they can be playing parts, playing roles in achieving peace in the Middle East. But if you ask me my opinion, is it necessary that Benjamin Netanyahu and the Palestinians attend this conference? And I'm saying no, it can go in a different way.
Which is?
Which is very important, which is that the international community could achieve an understanding how can be the solution for the conflict in the Middle East.
So it puts the framework of a solution?
Excellent. And they can go also for details, because the issue of Palestine is something very well known for all the parties.
I understand, but...
And we have to say this sentence, and we are negotiating the Israelis more than 22 years. So everyone is involved and everyone does know the very details.
This is very, very clear. The issue is, it's not up to me to accept. You have to accept.
The Palestinians? The
Palestinians and the Israelis have to accept the solution. So if we propose...
This is one way of dealing with the issue. Okay, well, continue your question and I will continue my scenario.
Because you see, in the past, a number of resolutions were issued. Numerous resolutions under the umbrella of the United Nations, for example, and they were not respected.
It's something different. Every time, and it's preferable that the two parties could achieve an agreement between each others, and they can go after that for deployment. But for us as Palestinians, we did see and we practiced the Israeli withdrawal every time and denial every time for the agreements that they signed by themselves.
Let alone the agreements they did. So if they do not respect their own signature, they will respect what 77 countries are calling for?
Even Netanyahu, more than that, Netanyahu did sign and he did put his signature over several agreements with the Palestinians. And
Exactly.
he didn't respect.
That's what I'm saying.
The issue is that this is my opinion. The issue is that we don't believe in his signature anymore. And we don't believe, as everyone does now understand, that he is in a position that giving no one a place to believe that he is a believer of a peace.
Yes.
He is not a believer of peace, and he is not going to deploy anything regarding the peace. What's the other scenario that we are offering for achieving this peace that Netanyahu and his government are refusing? How can we go for that? I'm telling you, it's something that, by the way, it's something that we already started this scenario to happen.
Which is?
And we are not, the Paris conference is not the start
No, it's
of
not.
this, of this
It's a
scenario.
continuation
Yes,
and a different way
what is it?
of the same thing.
I was with you 7 months before, and I told you, you talked in a part of the episode about the BDS. And we said that this BDS is something, it's the boycott of the State of Israel, that we are trying to make it rule in the street in different countries all over the world.
And how far have we gone? Have we progressed on this?
And the other guest, the respectable guest at that time, he refused, or he did not accept the idea that Fatah is in a way or another are close to the BDS. And I smiled and kept myself silent. But I'm telling you what that BDS, which is one of the methods of what we are running as a scenario.
So it's like an unofficial economic sanction.
Economics, education, cultural, money issue.
It's a sanction, an unofficial sanction.
I don't use this terminology. It's a way that we can say that you are a state and you are a representative of a state, independent state. It's called X. And this X state is recognizing the resolution, the UN resolutions that says that Palestine is a state legally. This is the resolution at the end of 2012.
Yes.
Palestine is recognized as a state, but it's not a member of the UN.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. But we are a state. This is on papers. This is in the law. This is in the constitution. Thank you. Next step, at that time I told you we are going for the next step, but slow down for us. Give us some air. The next step was by the few days before, we can say that, when the Security Council issued its resolution 2334.
Legalizing settlements.
Illegalizing
settlements.
That's it? No, there is something inside also.
What?
Which is, these settlements at this piece of land are illegal, right? You mean that these are illegal because they are in this area, right?
And they have to be removed.
So they are recognizing the borders of the state of Palestine.
This is another way, and those settlements have to be removed.
Thank you. So the other phase of this resolution is that these settlements are illegal because they are based in the lands of the Palestine state that we recognized in 2012. So the borders of the state of Palestine are recognized by the international community. So that we are going to the Paris conference with this new, different legal status.
Okay.
That, excuse me, today we are not going to accept any negotiations between the Israeli government and the identity of some Palestinians. We are talking about negotiations. We want negotiations between the state of Israel and the state of Palestine. The state of Israel with these borders lines that they never declared, that Israel did not declare its borders since the beginning of the creation of Israel, by the way. And this is something everyone must understand. They never determined what are the borders of Israel.
Because they have ambitious agenda of borders.
The two resolutions that were issued in 2016 and 2012, they are mentioning in the documents the borders of the state of Palestine, and the state of Palestine is a part of the states of the historic Palestine, which are regarding to the resolution 181 in 1947 by the General Assembly of the UN, mentioned that establishing two states, one for the Palestinians and one for the Israelis, on the lands of historic Palestine. This is the text and the terminologies.
When we say historic Palestine, what is the most important area?
So this is all Palestine, and it is wanted to be divided into two states, one for the Israelis and one for the Palestinians. So historically, this is Palestine, one. Number two, in reality, this is the state, and these are the borders of the state of Israel, and these are the borders of the state of Palestine. They didn't go for that. Now we are re-establishing resolutions from the UN and from the Security Council and the General Assembly of how to deal with these previous resolutions and to reform them again and make them the base for any negotiations could happen, not only negotiations, any peace agreements could be happening in the very near future.
Your Excellency,
this is the core issue of the
This is very well said, but I don't want to sound the damper here, or the one that really kills the momentum, but so, when I say so, I mean, since the issuance of resolution 2334 or whatever, because we've had so many resolutions and so many numbers
but it's a good number, 2334, it's very nice.
We're in 282 and I don't know what, I mean, we have lots of nice numbers which could have saved us a lot of lives as well. The issue is, since then, has Israel stopped its atrocity and settlement building?
No, they didn't.
That's what I mean by so.
Excellent. So,
what is the mechanism? Because the United Nations, unfortunately, does not have an enforcement mechanism, except when it came to Saddam Hussein.
Excellent.
Then it enforced.
This is a very good question, and this is something different. The Security Council did issue its resolution 2334, and it is illegalizing the establishing and expanding and the existence of the Israeli settlements over the Palestinian lands.
Yes.
Excellent. Now we want a mechanism, or we want a conference. Let it be in Paris.
The Paris conference.
Let it be.
Okay. What would you think is the success factor of that conference?
To go for another resolution under the security, under the Chapter 7 of Security Council, and mentioning the methods of enforcing the two parties of how to deal with the previous resolutions.
So a success factor out of the January 15th conference is to come out with an implementation mechanism.
This is one of the things which is
abiding both sides, the Palestinian and the Israeli. You have to do this to implement.
And we are more flexible to that. We want to say that this is a framework. How could the two parties achieve this agreement between each others, with the mechanisms of how to deploy this agreement this time, and how would the international community adopt this solution with a timeline.
What if Israel refuses? Because this has been the case.
You are pushing the international community.
That's what I'm saying, because...
No. You, Dina, by yourself, you are pushing the international community.
No, I'm pushing them right now, right?
In Paris especially,
yes,
to go for the next step, which is how to go for under Chapter 7 of the UN Constitution.
The reason I'm saying this is because a resolution was just issued a few days ago, so to speak, the 2334. And as we talk, right? They are continuing the settlement activities and their atrocity. So if we come in January, a few days from now, this coming Sunday,
Right.
some kind of a memorandum or an agreement is reached that Palestine has to do 1, 2, and 3, Israel has to do 1, 2, and 3 to reach a two-state solution. Israel refuses to do this. And I don't have a crystal ball, but it doesn't seem that Netanyahu is interested in pursuing anything proposed by the international community.
Unfortunately, I'm the diplomat in the episode, so I'm telling you how to use the diplomatic way of achieving this. So again, in this case, and the Israelis did declare that they are not deploying these memorandums.
They're not going to adopt.
Formation.
But if they're not accepting this
you are talking as a journalist and as an expert of how does the Israelis act, and as also you are talking as you are a citizen. You are saying, you're seeing what's happening.
I mean, if you're not willing to participate in a conference.
Based on the facts.
Yes.
That this is what Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli
government and is continuing.
And will. They are will go how is their map? How do they act against the Palestinians? Excellent.
Netanyahu said that he does not want to attend the conference, and correct me if I'm mistaken, because he doesn't think that the two-state solution or any negotiations should be done between Israel, Palestine, and any outsider. He wants the negotiations to be done between Israel and Palestine alone.
No, Israel and Palestinians. Not Israel and Palestine. He's not recognizing Palestine.
Well, I mean, the two sides.
Yes.
So if today we have, a few days from now, a memorandum of action issued by the 77 countries that are participating in Paris a few days.
Very important.
Will he respect this memorandum?
No.
He doesn't want this memorandum.
I believe that he's not going to respect and deploy. He will never do that.
Does the world, this is what I'm asking basically to get to the point. Do you think the world has reached a stage whereby it is recognizing that diplomatic negotiations with Israel will lead to nothing?
I think that they still need one other step. No, I believe that they need more than one step.
So the Paris conference will not be the step?
I'm shifting myself from a diplomat to a diplomat and a politician. Okay? So you asked me the must questions for me as a diplomat, and I'm telling you that we have to go in this way, and we have to give a chance for the international community to go and issue their memorandum and to push the Israelis to and urge the Israelis. Look at my terminologies. Urge the Israelis to deploy this memorandum.
We're very diplomatic hat today.
Now you believe and I believe and everyone must believe that the Israelis are not deploying. And this Israeli government are very, very fundamentalist. Very extreme.
Fanatic, not fundamental.
Very fanatic, as you love to say.
Let us not.
How can we go?
Your Excellency, let us not forget one thing, because since we're talking about the involvement of the international community, let us look at the changing factors, the changing political factors. Number one, you have a different president with a different mentality hitting the White House a few days from now. A president that made a very brief statement.
A Trump president.
His very brief statement could have been a leading factor in changing things in Syria. Maybe, God knows. You have a chummy relationship developing between Russia and the United States under the Trump leadership. Russian position vis-a-vis the Palestinian question is very clear. We're talking about the powers.
Okay.
Can Israel continue its atrocity, not recognizing how the world is changing? Will Netanyahu recognize that his backup in the US administration will no longer be there coming this January 20th?
You believe that Trump is not going to support Benjamin Netanyahu? I don't believe so.
No, I don't think he's not going to support, and I'm not in a position here to put an opinion because now you're turning me into the guest. But judging by his statements or by what we read in Trump is a very, very shrewd businessman.
Okay.
and Trump is setting foot in the White House to maybe correct previous mistakes that the US administration might have committed. Let us take this scenario, because we never expected the United States to make ends meet with Russia.
Okay, let's go for another scenario. Depends on information. This Trump, this respectable president of the United States, which was chosen by the American people, will be shocked when he is stepping into the White House. And he will discover that the United States is something different, ran by organizations and associations. And it's something different about what does he gives as speeches and statements. So,
can I just interject here for a second? I don't mean to keep cutting your line of thought.
I hope that you will turn into a citizen and I can interview you.
But when you say that he will step into the White House and recognize that things are different, let me remind you that most of us, and I highlight most of us, expected Hillary Clinton to be the upcoming US president, to be the first. Well, you're one of the few. But most of the people expected Hillary to be the upcoming US president because she has a very, very strong position supporting not only Israel, but she has a strong backing by the Zionist lobby in the United States. Right?
But the American mood, the popular mood is something different. So it's related to democracy. So I'm dealing now with the facts. The facts are that we are having Trump as a president.
Exactly.
So it's Trump. Exactly. And I personally knew that Trump will be the next president and it's not Hillary Clinton. And by the way, if you ask me, and I think that you asked me before, that what are the differences, I told you that there are no big deal in differences in dealing
very
with
narrow gap.
Yes, between
very
both,
narrow.
especially in dealing with the Arab issues and Palestine. So this is not our issue. The issue is that Trump, when he steps into the White House, he would be facing something different regarding the organizations and the constitutions that they are running the United States, which is happening normally in the stable countries. He would discover that the plans which were made before Obama comes and which was started by Condoleezza Rice, it's the same. They are the same plans that they were planned and programmed and deployed in the Middle East.
Yes.
So Obama, who declared several times that he is not agreeing on Bush's
followed the same foot, even
policy,
thought worse.
but he did not go out of the rage of how would they deal. So he continued what they called, again, I'm saying, what they called the Arab Spring. He couldn't step out.
But will you think Trump will do this?
Trump will go again into the plans, trying to do some changes, but the plans are at the end of deployment. Now, the previous, regarding my information, what's happening is almost going to be finished in a few years. So it's something Trump could not make severe changes in the plans which are happening in the region. But he would be, in his attitude, aggressive in this, decent in this, in that.
How will he be supporting or not supporting the Palestinian question? Let's be quite frank. The Obama administration
Trump by himself
was not supporting the question.
No, Obama did not support. Hillary Clinton wouldn't support, because we know the position of Clinton.
Exactly. So will Trump continue the same policy?
Yes, they are going to continue the same policy, but what we are saying that we believe in what we are doing, and you made a cut for my road when I was going to continue what's the other scenario that we are continuing. When I told you that, and maybe you didn't like it, that I'm shifting from a diplomat
no, not at all, not at all.
I'm joking. So Either he is going to support or not to support. We are going on our roadmap, and we are not declaring very clear for everyone. Because
So there is a plan.
of course,
There is a backup plan.
there is a
If
strategy.
January 15th doesn't materialize, there is a backup plan.
There is a strategy. There are plans. There are A, B, C, D plans. And we know where we are stepping. We are expecting the worst from the others, and how can we deal with the other thing. One of the most important things is that, look at this slogan. It's not only a slogan, it's a philosophy, that it is the time for the Israeli occupation to pay the price of occupying the Palestinian land. So, and we are saying clearly, loudly, for everyone, that we are using the peaceful resistance. Okay? So this is the issue. But
Yes.
while we are working in this way, and we are trying to control every single action in the Palestinian territories, you could find someone like this Fidai who went crushed into over the Israeli soldiers, the Golani and Givati soldiers who used to go and to kill the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. So that young man found them while he was driving on the street. He saw them on the road, and he crushed over them. It's something happening in a minute.
It was spontaneous, not a planned thing.
Yes. But it does mean that everyone must understand or give an answer for this question. Why does the single Palestinian does this action against the Israeli soldiers? Me, as anyone can say that this Israeli citizen must ask himself this question and to get an answer. The answer simply because the Israelis are occupying the Palestinian lands. And the international community is recognizing that these lands that the Israelis occupying are the lands of the Palestinians. These are not the lands of the Israelis. These are not the lands of the Israeli state. These are the lands of Palestine state. These are the lands of Palestine state which is recognized by the UN and the Security Council and the countries individually.
So we will
and
continue
everything.
the peaceful
So,
resistance?
the
Or
peaceful-
is this another intifada?
the peaceful resistance and the resistance concept by itself. Okay, so anything can happen, and the Israelis must keep asking themselves this question: why is this happening to us? Simply, the answer is that because you are occupation. Give up occupation, you will get peace. Give up killing the Palestinians, you will not get Palestinian retaliation. Give up working as aggressive state and persons, you will find peaceful people retaliating, acting towards you. These are the realities that the Israelis must understand. So, Palestinians, with their scenarios, they are working diplomatically with the international community. They are working politically with the Israeli side. They are working with the Israelis using the resistance, the diplomatic resistance, the political resistance, the field resistance, using the concept of the peaceful resistance. But no one could 100% control all the reactions and retaliations of the Palestinians.
Can we, I don't know, it just came to my mind, can we expect following the January meeting in a few days, the Paris
Not only
conference?
January doesn't mean only Paris. There is Paris and there is Moscow also.
The meetings that are scheduled, and following the fact that this UN resolution has not been respected, should we find ourselves 2, 3, 4 months from now, the Israeli continuing in the same policy of non-cooperation and we're not reaching a ground for a two-state solution? Can we reach a stage whereby we will find some UN sanctions, for example, imposed on Israel?
But this will, if we are in that position when the Israelis are not deploying and not accepting and not dealing with the...
We are in that position right now. The issue is if they continue that way.
My reading is almost like your reading, that the Israelis are not going to accept
I'm basing my reading on what I've seen from the past.
What will happen? As a diplomat, I cannot go.
I know,
for that,
I'm not a diplomat.
But yes, thank God. For me, if we are talking about the next step, so at that time, of course, one of the steps that the Palestinians must take is to go for looking for sanctions over the Israelis. The other thing, to get a mechanism to deploy the framework, the international community, the 77 countries did agree on how to deal with the Palestine issue and to get a solution. Number 4, how would our efforts that we already planned and deployed on the ground should be continued? Now we are telling that the large companies, the international companies, that they are giving bulldozers, for instance, for the Israelis, using them for building the settlements. These must go under sanctions because they are in illegal contracts with the Israelis.
Your Excellency. Your Excellency.
You don't like that?
No, it's not that
You're a citizen.
No. This is music to my ears, but you want sanctions imposed against countries that deliver bulldozers? What about countries that finance, harbor, support, and train terrorists that kill innocent civilians?
You mean the Israelis or others?
Well, they're not only the Israelis.
Yes, okay, I agree with you, but I'm talking about the Israelis and how can we deal with the issue of the...
Because what Israel is doing is a form of terrorism, by the way.
And they are doing that.
So you want sanctions against a company X that is delivering bulldozers,
Dina, you want
and not against those who are delivering bombs and machine guns and I don't know what, and drugs.
Very good. You know, your answer is the suitable answer for my effort, which is that now you are the Arab, the regional, the international community, that you are now getting very close to my point of view. That you think as I think, and I'm saying that they are not going for peace, and they are the terrorists, and they are working in this way. So now you agree that they are training and they are containing and
they're one of the entities that we're not going to beat about the bush. They're one of the entities that are doing this.
How can we go for an understanding, you and me, to impose the peaceful solution over the Israelis? This is the step. So now you are in my side, and this is what we are doing.
Well, we have a very intelligent gentleman. His name is Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
Excellent.
Let's take a lesson from him and see how he did things in Sinai. How is he doing things?
I agree with you. I agree. This is very excellent, and that's why I'm telling you that. And how would the Palestinians are using the, let's say, the same diplomacy or attitude in dealing with the Israeli attitude, the aggressive Israeli attitude against the Palestinians. So we need steps, because the international community does not believe in the going to the goal, to the target directly. So they want steps, and we are dealing with them by their way. The steps. Of course, for me, I know the ending, that they are not going for Paris. They are not dealing with the results of Paris. They will not accept, they will not deal, they will not go for, they will not cooperate, they will not. Netanyahu is only using the no, the big no, against the conference and the outcomes. But we have to do that for the international community. Excellent. Good morning, international community. We finished Paris. Now let's go for the results. What does the Palestinians say? We say, yes, we accept, we want, we agree, we are with you, we thank you. These are our words next day. Okay, I'm telling you from now. These are our words. But what
so would... you have a press release already prepared?
Already, it's written.
So here on Daily Debate, I just leaked an official press release.
Yes, okay.
The January 16th press release.
With this smile. You can have also this face, with this smile. Okay. On the other side, the Israelis, Netanyahu saying that we are not dealing with this because the Palestinians are doing 1, 2, 3. The international community is aggressive against the against the Israelis, and they are pushing the terrorists.
Blah, the things we heard before.
All these things, okay, for me, the 77 countries that we are in Paris and we exerted too much effort. What are the resolutions? One side is accepting, the other side is refusing. How can we with the credibility, we have to go for some action. The Palestinians now will jump and say, excuse me, let's go for the next step.
Your Excellency, unfortunately our time is up, but maybe I'll take the note from the end, and that is, following the Paris conference, the question that raises itself is, what if Israel continues on the same note? Then what is the solution? And on that note, I wish you a very pleasant evening and good night. Tomorrow, another day and another debate.
Resistance is the next note.